Hi, Shelley. Great to catch up again today. And I want to hear a little bit more about your Lead to Connect program. I know we've got a series that we run here at Auscontact with you. We get fantastic feedback about each of them. We get great feedback about you too, which is always fantastic. Um, but I want to hear a little bit more about this Lead to Connect program and what it is it's trying to actually deliver and develop within the participants, and what are the sorts of things you're seeing it help um,
Mm.
the people that go through the program actually address as a result of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone who's done the dynamic leaders tutelage, the Lead to Connect program is a really nice sort of complementary or flow on one for like newer leaders. For leaders that have been around for a long time, Lead to Connect is a little bit deeper. So once you kind of understand the fundamentals and where your focus needs to be through the dynamic leaders tutelage, then it's about going, well, how do I really adopt this coaching style of leading? How do I help people to bring themselves along on the journey? And that a lot of that starts with building awareness around self. So there's a big component around emotional intelligence and how you use awareness and emotional intelligence to drive conversations and drive outcomes that don't require your complete investment or all of your energy at the expense of the other stuff that you've got going on in your role in your life.
So if you think about, you know, some of those things you've talked about, easy to say them, but they're actually not always that easy to do, right? And, as leaders, we can fall into the trap of, taking total responsibility for others. And that's actually not our role. So, obviously you talk a little bit through this program around that dependency and really kind of pushing through and challenging it. But also you have a fair bit of focus on that, as you say, the emotional intelligence component, but equally how they can actually step into, you know, crafting those conversations properly with their people. Can you tell us a little bit about the tools that you focus on and some of those, practical components that you cover? I know you do a fair bit around, really active listening. And we've heard it forever. We all say, yes, I'm an active listener, but actually, I would challenge that there are a lot of us that are not actually active listeners. So what are the sorts of things that you do through this program that actually calls out some really practical ways that people can be better at this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key thing that we start with is that as a leader, you have multiple different modes. And so we talk about, these five modes of leadership where your coach is just one mode. Train or teach is another mode. And it's interesting where our default is train or teach mode, we become the path of least resistance. So our staff are getting through their day without really having to switch their brain on or the critical thinking part of their brain on. And so it's this differentiation of, well, when are you coaching and when are you training? Equally super important, super frustrating for someone to be coached when they've got no clue. So it's like, if you're teaching someone
Absolutely.
skill, don't ask me what I think because I've got no idea. And
Yeah.
so there's those two. And then we talk about mentorship and what does it look like when you operate from a mentor position? What does it look like when you operate from that confidant? Like, I just
Yeah.
want to be there for you as a human being. And what are where are the times where that's going to be the most appropriate? And then the final one is manage mode. Like I have stats, I have KPIs or KRAs or whatever. There are deliverables that I need to meet. There are compliance things that I need to address. There is quality. There is all of these other things. And there are some times where I have to go into manage. And so it's looking at those five modes of leadership and again, putting like more intentionality around when am I operating in each of these and what does that then deliver as an outcome? And is that the most effective outcome? Um, and so that's kind of the basis of it. And then it's exploring like, well, when I'm moving into confidant mode and I'm getting stuck there, like where's the awareness around me and what is it that causes me to go there as a default? And what is it that stops me from going to somewhere like coach or manage or mentor or whatever that is? And so we really start to unpack where's the resistance for you as an individual, and how do you start to build some awareness around it and then adjust your strategies so that you can improve and effectively lead your people?
Think, yeah, I really like how you sort of separate each of those, real five modes or roles of the leaders. And, there's such a danger in misreading which role you have in any one of those. And, you won't necessarily see the impact of getting it wrong right away, but it's that continual build up, isn't it? Of, if someone's coming you just to for the, you talk about confidant, but all they want to do is get it off their chest. But if you're jumping into fix it mode, actually you're not doing anyone any favors. And there's some really interesting things that will actually come about if you don't actually know which role you need to be in for what's being presented to you at the time. So do you focus a fair bit on what are those signals? What are the, obviously you touched on the fact that we all have a default. We're all gonna go to that comfy place. Some of this is about actually operating in the uncomfortable and recognizing the signs more than just slipping into your old patterns. So do you invest a little bit of time in that whole recognizing
Mm.
kind of stage? What is it we need from this? What do your people need from it? Kind of, yeah, what are those signals that you can actually read?
Yeah, I think I mean, emotional intelligence, when I started learning about it, was very much about you can't recognize in other people what you don't recognize within yourself. So the awareness, the recognition starts with you, and it's being, curious about what's going on for you. And then once you've got like once you're comfortable with how you operate and sort of where you're at and what your triggers are, it's then, projecting that out and going, okay, what am I seeing in relation to others? And it's this, constant, I say curiosity. So there's this constant curiosity, but there's also this calibration element where it's, where am I noticing some things? And then how am I calibrating that back to what I would expect of this person or of this scenario? And I'm just inquiring. So it's this like appreciative inquiry around, what does this actually look like? What can I do about it? Is it something that I've done, or is it something that, they might have done, that I'm reacting to? And being able to really notice the difference between, what's me and what's everyone else, and then how does that work when it comes together?
So there's a lot to take in there, right? So, you've got a group of people as they're transitioning through, they're probably going to pick things up at different stages. They're hearing from you. What do you see as the result of getting this right?
Well, I think actually you let go a lot more. I think you learn to go, "Oh, I'm just going to leave that with my people." I think you learn to trust. I think you learn to trust that, what it is that I am doing is the best that I can do, and so is what everybody else doing. Like, so what the people around me are doing is the best that they can do. And that I learned to trust that, and I learned to be okay with sometimes it doesn't go well, sometimes it doesn't pan out, and that's also okay. So it's this like, can we create this environment where we can make mistakes or get things wrong or not quite hit the mark on things, and still be okay with it? So it's that, it's that resilience to continue to lead and continue to empower and trust your people.
I love it. There's nothing better than actually being within an environment where there is this um, ability to fail. You have an ethos that says we'll fail fast though, right? And we'll recognize, we'll learn from it, we'll shift out of it in a really healthy and practical way. And I would say the very best and most successful, productive wise and people wise environments that you see are incredibly trustful and safe as environments. We'll all know that leader that says, that's okay. Did anyone dive because of that mistake? What are we going to do past that? So again, still empowering your people to understand how to shift out of, whether it's a mistake or just something didn't go as well as they thought. That then shifts to that magic coaching session around, well, how do we get out of this? What would you do differently? What do we do next?
Yeah.
How do I support you type thing? It is an environment where people are so empowered. And probably what I see when people get this right is how innovative people get and how bold and curious you actually, see your people become because they know it's okay. So, it's such an important part of leading
Yeah.
to create that environment where, it is actually safe for them to learn and develop. And they know that you've got their back. It's a really, really powerful thing. You see so much growth as well, right? Yes. Yeah,
Totally.
it's crazy.
I think at like a really practical level as well, it's like, how good does it feel when you walk away from a coaching session and you don't have any actions as the person
Yeah.
that's been coaching?
Shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Should have, there might be, a little peripheral here and there, but actually you shouldn't.
No.
So
So that's a nice feeling. It's like, well, if you're not coaching now, just tap into what would it actually feel like if I could walk away from every conversation, every coaching conversation I have with my people with nothing to do. It's awesome. It's so liberating. It's like, well, what do I do now?
that's a nice goal, isn't it?
It is, it really is.
Suddenly free some space up to do some of those other really important things as leaders. We all know there's never enough time in the day. So it's about being, deliberate and strategic with how you actually then place your time.
Yeah.
Shelley, we get great feedback about this program. We're excited to be putting it on again next year, and obviously for us as the industry body, we want to see organisations continue to invest in their leaders because it makes the industry better. It makes your organisation better. Equally, it makes people better. This stuff is all transferable. It transfers into your real life. It's not compartmentalised into, well, this is how I operate at work. Being able to understand those different roles as a parent or a friend or an active member of anything within society actually helps you be better at life. You see a lot of people kind of, think, oh, it's all about work, but actually it's really not all about work. It's actually about you as a person.
Yeah, let's do life better. I was actually facilitating a program recently, and there was a couple of guys that are like, my wife is going to love me because of this. So yeah, it really does just kind of bleed into all areas of your life. And I mean, it's just a recognition that we're one person when we don't have a work version and a home version. We try to think that we do, but I think one kind of seeps into the other, and it's nice to go, well, actually this stuff isn't just for me and my role, it's for me and me, which is kind of nice.
Love that. Thanks, Shelley. Can't wait to have this one happening again in 2024.
Me too, thanks.